I work at the courthouse here in Mount Pulaski, and we are welcoming today a great person who knew another great person, and that is Billy Herndon is with us today, who was the partner of Abraham Lincoln practicing law in Springfield. So we're very glad to have him with us to tell some of his stories.
Hello. I am pleased so many of you come to hear me, Billy Herndon. Well, Billy is what Mr. Lincoln always called me. Some people say I was his junior law partner, but I'm here to tell you we were full and equal partners. I know, because every penny that came into our office was split 50-50. I know because I did the accounting and paid the bills. Maybe you know, I wrote one of the first biographies of Mr. Lincoln. His son didn't like it. He tried to stop the publication of my book. And then when he could not, he tried to buy every copy so no one could read it, which I thought was wonderful. It meant I sold more copies. Mary didn't like the book at all, because I chose to take Mr. Lincoln down off the pedestal we're so apt to build for him, to remove the rose-colored glasses, and to tell the truth as I knew it. If time allowed, I could tell you 100 stories about Mr. Lincoln growing up in Kentucky and moving to Indiana, his time in Illinois. I could tell you 100 more about the young Civil War and his years in the White House. But in the limited time that I have here this afternoon, I would like to focus on the area where I knew Mr. Lincoln best. Mr. Lincoln, the lawyer. In the following presentation, I shall ask and answer the following questions. What was Mr. Lincoln's early training for the bar? Was he a self-taught country bumpkin or the highest paid, best lawyer in America? I'll tell the stories and let you decide. Now, Abraham ran out of food. And actually, how tall are you, sir? No. Could you stand up? The way you're sitting here, you're taller. Oh, yeah. So how tall are you? 6'6". You're 2 inches taller than Mr. Lincoln, who is 6'4". Now imagine you're almost his height. Some of you wish to be. And you're heading to the neighbor's house, 2 miles across the Sangamon River. The temperature's below 0. Snow up over your waist. Well, depending on how tall some of you are, maybe more than your waist. And he had to cross the Sangamon River. Now, he hoped, as cold as it was, that the river was frozen thick, and it was in most places. But wherever there's water running under the ice, in some places the ice was worn thin. As Mr. Lincoln was making, he falls through and the boy liked to drown. He grabbed hold of the root on the shore and he pulled himself out. Put yourself in his clothes, his shoes. Your clothes are frozen stiff within a matter of moments. In less than 5 minutes, hypothermia shows up. Your lips turn blue. And in less than 10 minutes, your brain stops working. And you're a goner. And you still have a mile to go. Now imagine you're the sheriff. You have a large log cabin. You have a roaring fire, plenty of food. You're the sheriff. You look out the window, and you see this boy. Well, not a boy. He's 6'4". Hair frozen stiff. Icicles dangling from his shirt sleeves. Face frosty white. Well, the sheriff, he must have thought it's the abominable snowman. Well, he recognized it was Abraham and warmly welcomed him in. Stripped off all of his clothes, because your frozen clothing would continue to steal heat. Wrapped him in a warm wool blanket and set him by the fire to warm him from the outside. Poured hot tea in his belly to warm him from the inside. But Mr. Lincoln was so cold, it took him 3 days to get his heat back. Now, some folks say he stayed those 3 days because the sheriff had a pretty daughter named Polly, and Mr. Lincoln had a crush on her. Yeah, Polly. But you know, I talk talked to Polly Warnicki, and she told me he was ugly and uncouth, and she wouldn't have anything to do with it. I believe Mr. Lincoln stayed those 3 days because the sheriff had books. And not just any book, but the law of the land, the Illinois statutes. And that's where Mr. Lincoln began to study for the bar.